Hello and welcome to the April 14th edition of Speedway Digest, Thursday Night Thunder, the most hardcore motorsports program on the internet. This is episode 232 of the series. I'm your host, Jason Sinclair, and on tonight's program, we'll be talking about a wide variety of auto racing topics. We've got a full slate of awesome guests tonight, so let's get started. Our first guest tonight is Jason Pribyl. Jason, 16, from Glenville, Illinois, is a Road Indy USF Juniors driver with IGY6 Motorsports. He has a background in karting. Unlike most karters his age, he has a long history of enduro karting on the big tracks. He started karting at 6 and had his first road race at 7 on the Worldwide Technology Raceway road course. In 2021, he was the SCCA Northern Conference Formula Enterprise 2 champion and finished 10th at the SCCA Nationals in Indianapolis. We're going to welcome Jason to the show momentarily. I don't think he's connected quite yet. I'm a little bit slow in getting connected myself this evening, but those sort of things do happen. So let's go ahead and stand by for Jason to come on the show. Again, we do have lots of guests on tonight. We got 3 guests tonight, 3 wonderful guests. We've been trying to get a wide variety of people on the program. I think tonight we've actually succeeded pretty well. Got people from all aspects of motorsports. We were originally supposed to have 4. Unfortunately, Matt Colleague of Colleague Racing is unable to join us this evening, but he was slated to be on tonight. We're going to try and reschedule him for later on in the season. We'll see how that goes. Again, our first guest tonight is Jason Pribyl. Jason is standing by to connect. Let's go ahead and see if he's contacted me here. I don't think he has. Let's go ahead and see. Does not look like he has yet. No. So we're standing by for Jason to connect in here. Let's see how it goes. Don't have any sign of him in the program as of yet. But we are standing by. Again, we've got 3 different guests on tonight. We've got Jason, we've got Josh Pierson, who we had on the show before. Unfortunately, the connection was really bad, but we did have Josh Pierson on the show in the past. And we've got Keegan Kincaid scheduled to be on in about 20 minutes or so. Keegan's going to be, we've talked to him before. We've had some articles about him in the past, but we're going to go ahead and welcome Keegan Kincaid to the program in about 20 minutes. Again, our first guest tonight is Jason Pribyl, and we are standing by for him to connect in momentarily. Looks like we do have 1 listener in the chat room here this evening. Gotcha, Mary. I'm hoping I pronounced that properly, but it looks like we got 1 listener in the program already. We did have a lot of people sharing this episode on social media, and we'd like to thank you very much for doing that. We haven't been on the air in about a month now. We're going to have a little bit of a spring break for this show. I don't know if we're actually how much longer we'll end up having the show here on a weekly basis. We end up going to every other week like we did for a while, about 2 or 3 years ago. That does seem to work pretty well for me and my schedule. But again, we're hoping to have at least a few guests every other week. Trying to keep it a weekly program, but that just doesn't work out very well schedule-wise all the time. Again, we are currently standing by for Jason Pribyl to call into the program. He's got all the information. I contacted him earlier tonight, and we're looking forward to talking with him. It should be a few moments until he contacts us. Again, he's racing in the Road Indy USF Juniors Series with IGY6 Motorsports. In the past, what we've done at this point is to go ahead and play a little bit of background music, but unfortunately, our background music is not working for the show right now. I'm probably going to go ahead and upload some more later, but it's not working right now, so we're going to go ahead and hang out here and wait for Jason Pribyl to call in. It's been a really busy few weeks in motorsports, and we were lucky enough to get these people scheduled for tonight. Hopefully, everything works out. As of right now, it seems like it's a little slow, but we'll see how it goes in a few minutes. Looks like we got Keegan Kincaid in the chat room here. I've got him currently muted. I apologize if that was a little bit loud on your end, but we're going to be standing by for our first guest, Jason Pribyl, to be talking to us tonight. If he does not call in a couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and move on and have Keegan be our first guest this evening. As I say, we're going to give Jason another minute or two, and then we'll go ahead and talk to Keegan Kincaid. ahead and move down in the script here so I'm all ready for Keegan Kincaid. Let's see here. Again, I'd like to apologize. Our co-host tonight, Michael Mullally-Capallo, is unable to join us. She is taking a little while off from the show. She did, however, submit some questions for our guests tonight, and we're looking forward to having those questions answered. Michael should be back with us sometime in the next few months. She is dealing with some medical issues. For those who aren't aware, I'll let her tell you about that. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing, and she's happy about everything that's going on. Let's go ahead and contact and get in touch here with our guest tonight, Keegan Kincaid. It's been a bit since we covered Keegan Kincaid. We wanted to see what he's doing now as the current Red Bull Crandon World Cup champion. He's always preparing for his next challenge, whether on or off the track. To further expand his legacy in the off-road world, he's partnered with Battle Approved Motors, an electric UTV brand that's recently raised more than $1.2 million in pursuit of building something more economical, environmentally safe, but with elevated purpose. Keegan's relentless spirit is in driving force in everything he pursues. We're going to go ahead and talk to Keegan for a few minutes, and then we'll go ahead and move on in the show. Looks like we've got Josh connected, so we're going to go ahead and talk to him in a few minutes as well. But let's go ahead and get Keegan all set now and unmute him. Hello, how you doing this evening?
Good. How are you, Adam?
Doing very well. Thank you for coming on the show. It's been a little while since we got a chance to talk with you and see how things are going. So how are you adjusting to your time off after your last event? I know it's been a little bit of time.
It's been good. Our last event was in fall Crandon, Wisconsin, the World Championships for short course, and we ended the season well there. We won the points championship in Pro 2, and we ended up winning the Crandon Red Bull Cup to end the year. And after that, it's finally settled down somewhat, and we just been really focused on getting ready for next season, and which is coming up here at the end of May, beginning of June. Been working on a couple different deals, and it's been good. We just been staying busy. We did a couple investments. Chris James from Battle Approved has, reached out to me last season, and I kind of knew him from Mod Kid days when they were doing mod carts, and he had reached out to me and a potential investor and being an advisor to help on Battle Approved Motors, which is electric UTV. It's a startup company that they've raised quite a bit of money on, and myself, I have 4 kids, and my thought has been moving. I'm 32 now, and how can I sustain the future for my children? And I think Chris has done a great job with Battle Approved on offering that, and the way things are going with electric. And it was a great opportunity for me to jump on board and hopefully get involved with them more and help develop and help be an advisor for them. I look forward to doing that, and working with them more. But it's been good. We've built another truck in the off season. We'll be racing Pro 2 again in 2022, and looking forward to competing for a championship.
I know you've done some racing in the Extreme E Series. How does the Red Bull Crandon World Cup Championship compare to that?
Yeah, completely different. So the Red Bull, a little history of the Crandon Cup or Red Bull World Cup. They basically pit Pro two-wheel drive trucks, which I drive, which is 700 horse, 20 inches of wheel travel, standardized chassis, versus Pro four-wheel drives, which is an unlimited vehicle, 950 horse, manual transmission. And what they do is they separate off of times throughout the weekend. And that gap, obviously, the Pro 4s run a faster time. And it's a 10-lap shootout race. So they'll send the Pro two-wheel drives out first with a gap, 10 laps. Pro 4s trying to chase them down. And, I've been lucky enough to win 2 of those. And, the E Series is a little bit different. It's been good. There's a lot of new development. It's really good to see where things are going and the technology is going, and hopefully we can get a little more involved. And like I said, with Battle Approved, hopefully that's our way into the electric side of it. If for those listening, if it is, if you're more interested, you can look up battleapproved.com. But hopefully that was our way to get into the future. I feel like racing is headed in that direction, and we're trying to stay on top of it.
What steps do you take to prepare for your average race day?
Yeah, a lot of preparation goes into prepping the trucks. My dad and I have been. My dad's been racing for over 30 years, and we've been building our own off-road trucks, and we basically prep everything. We tear down the truck from the top to the bottom and make sure it's ready to go. I think in racing, preparation is when it's won. And we've done a great job of that, and not only the truck wise, but preparation mentally and physically. It's a sport that takes full commitment, and we've done a good job of that. And I just look forward to the preparation and setting the goals and being ready to race on whatever weekend it brings us.
I know you've been on the top of your game for a while now, and everything you've been touching has done pretty well for you. Do you think you'll be doing this for several more years? What's your plan for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I guess the 5-year plan is I've been born and raised in short course off-road racing in the dirt, and hopefully expand, maybe do a little desert racing. Getting involved with Battle Approved is hopefully got me into the UTV side of it. Being involved with the future, and 5 years my kids are going to be old enough where they'll be racing, and wherever racing's at, I want to make sure that we're capable of doing it and doing it at the best we can. I'd love to keep it a family sport, and that's what it's been for me, is a family with my dad and traveling with my mom and dad and our family, and now my kids and my wife, and I hope they can continue that with theirs. And the future is shown to be electric, and we look forward to seeing where that goes.
Well, we'd like to thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. It was great talking to you, and hopefully you have a good year. And can't wait to see how you work with Battle Proof Motors goes. It sounds like it's an interesting company, and it's definitely the future of not only racing but of transportation as well.
I appreciate that. I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Once again, that was Keegan Kincaid. We're very happy we got to talk to him this evening. We're going a little bit out of order here compared to what my schedule is, but that's okay. Everything works out that way sometimes. Are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're a huge fan of the sport. Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve your 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. Our next guest this evening is Josh Pierson. At Sebring, Josh competed for both PR1 in the Sebring 12 Hour and Idaho Sports for the 1,000 miles of Sebring. Actually, was able to go see the 1,000 miles of Sebring this year. It was a pretty cool race. Awesome to see the FIA cars there in Sebring. I love the way the garage was set up. It's pretty cool to see the cars. And, it's definitely something you should check out if you have a chance. In January, Josh became the youngest ever to compete in January's 2022 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championships Daytona 24-hour race, the Rolex 24 at Daytona. He is the youngest ever competitor racing in the World Endurance Championship, where he competes with the elite United Autosports Racing Team. For regular listeners, this segment might seem like a repeat, but our last time talking with Josh was a bumbled, bad connection mess at best. Hopefully, tonight is better. I know our connection with Keegan was pretty good, so hopefully the connection with Josh is okay as well. We're happy to welcome Josh to the program. Hello, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Thanks for coming on the show. I know we had a really bad connection when you were racing at Sebring there, but hopefully it sounds better already. So first off, how was Sebring for you? I know you had some success there.
Yeah, I think Sebring in general went pretty well for us as a team. On both, I think the IMSA side could have gone better, but that's racing. I feel like as a team we made a couple mistakes that held us back in the 12-hour, but the big focus was on the 1,000 miles of Sebring, and coming away with the win there was unbelievable for us on debut in the World Endurance Championship. My teammates Paul and Oliver did a great job the entire race, and Paul handed me the car in second place, and we made a good strategy call, which ended up getting us to the lead. And then from there, Paul and Ollie held it out to the end. So I think overall our race was really good. We had a great strategist and engineer in Will who set the car up beautifully for us and really gave us a fighting chance with United Autosport.
Do you have any more races set up for United Autosports this season?
Yeah, so we'll be competing in the entire World Endurance Championship. So next up we've got Spa and the 6 hours, and then from there we'll head to the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Great. Hopefully you have a really good day there too. Hopefully Sebring helped to get you prepared for that.
Yeah, I think
at only 16, you already have 14 years of experience behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
How was your experience in everything from boxcars at age 2 to turn professional at age 14? How has it made you a better competitor?
That's an interesting question. I think from my side, coming up through karting and going through the junior formula ranks in general, at a young age, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to look forward to. So spending the time I did in karting, I think was really important for me. I think 11 or 12 years in total in karts and working my way from cadet to shifter kart racing. It taught me a lot, and it really helped me progress my career into the junior formulas. Without the people behind me from the early stages in karting, Rawlson Performance Group, my mechanic Aaron Nelliton, and all those karting wins wouldn't have been possible. Which eventually, those karting wins helped me gain experience and led me to the junior formulas, and from there, I think things just started to take off, leading to the World Endurance Championship.
I've had the opportunity to talk to Tristan Nunez several times. He's actually been on this program, I think, 4 times now. Have you had a chance to chat with him? I know he had a very similar start in his racing career. He's been racing for a long time, getting a start in Mazda as a young teenager, and then moving on now into the WeatherTech series, racing for the what team is he racing for now? The Wayland team. Did you get a chance to talk to him at all, or who's been your biggest helper in the IMSA ranks as getting started as a young man?
It's interesting. I have had a chance to talk to Tristan a little bit, but not as much as I have my other teammates on the IMSA side. But it's nice to come into IMSA. We have a lot of the guys that are in the World Endurance Championship paddock are also on the IMSA side of things. So both my teammates for WEC, Alex Lynn and Oliver Jarvis, are in the IMSA paddock, and especially at Daytona, I know they came and gave me some advice for things. And when I look at who I'm racing with as a whole, Jonathan Bomarito and all the guys at PR1, none of them are shy to give me some advice and point me in the right direction. So I think I've had a lot of people that have been really helpful. And the sports car side of things is generally pretty good for that. When you're sharing the car with these other drivers, it gives you a great opportunity to learn from them.
Can you tell us more about your work in the fight to end Alzheimer's disease? That's actually something that's rather near and dear to my heart. My grandmother suffered from that for a long time.
Yeah, so my grandpa is suffering from Alzheimer's, and it's been really hard to watch him fight the disease. And so kind of as a family, we decided we were going to try and look for a way to help him. And I think ultimately the way that we found was through the Alzheimer's Association. So I partnered up with them to try and bring some awareness to the disease and hopefully bring some donations to them and end the search for a cure.
That's great. I appreciate the work you're doing, and hopefully hopefully your grandfather isn't suffering too badly. And I really feel for you. That's a really horrible disease. It's not a good thing at all.
Thank you.
I know you've got quite the list of races this year, both in this country as well as overseas. Which race are you most looking forward to, and why?
I think there's a lot of races on the calendar for this year that I could put down as being looked forward to. I think in general the big one, it has to be the 24 Hours of Le Mans. When I think back to some of my earliest memories of motorsports and racing in general, I remember watching the race on TV as a kid, and for me, the 24 hours is just something incredibly special. So I'm really looking forward to hitting the track there and getting my first experience of the French countryside.
What steps do you take to prepare for race day?
I think in terms of preparation, there's a lot that goes into the weekends. The teams, they prepare the car extremely well, and so from my side, it's about being prepared as a driver, both mentally and physically. I think for us as the drivers, the most important part is the G-force and the load on your body in the car. So preparing for that, we do some simple exercises. I especially at home, I have a trainer that'll come 3 times a week and help me train and get prepared for that. So from that side, that's something that we do to prepare, as well as I do a lot of sim work to kind of experience the tracks ahead of time to take some of the load off of your mental state when you're just jumping in the car at a new track. That can be pretty stressful, and it's nice to kind of know at least where it's going. So I think those are the big things that as a driver we can do to prepare, and the team prepares the car extremely well. United Autosports is a well-oiled machine. They're always going to be keeping the car up and running and in great condition. They've got great guys there that are always gonna put us in a chance to hopefully hunt for the win.
Growing up, who was your racing idol?
It's an interesting question. I've had a lot of drivers that I would say I've looked up to or idolized over the years. When I was younger, Sebastian Vettel was the young up and coming driver that won 4 world championships in Formula One, and I thought he was a pleasure to watch, and I loved watching Formula One. In this kind of era where we're at right now, I really look up to George Russell, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc. I think those are all fantastic drivers that get the job done, and each of them in their own respect are great at something else on track. And I think I'd say those are the main drivers that I really look up to.
And my final question for you this evening: where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's a difficult question to answer, as motorsports can be unpredictable. So sometimes you end up going with the flow, and sometimes you have a plan pathed out. But I feel for me, I'd love to see myself um, with an LMDH ride or in the NTT IndyCar series in the coming 5 years. But we've got 5 years, and it's a journey to get there, and we'll see where we end up.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. It was great talking to you, and I apologize for our connection to Sebring, but those sort of things happen. And at least tonight, we were actually able to hear everything you said, and it was awesome to learn a little bit more about you and your career. So hopefully, you have a great year this year, and I hope I see that there'll be lots of amazing things for you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You as well.
Once again, that was Josh Pierson, who races in IMSA as well as the FIA WEC for United Autosports. It's kind of cool to talk to him this evening. I'm very happy he had to be on the show tonight. And let's go ahead and see if we're going to be able to connect to our last guest. It doesn't look like Jason's going to be on the show this evening. I don't see him in the listener thing or in the co-host speakers box. So we're going to have to reschedule Jason Pribyl. Hopefully he's able to come back on the show in the future. I don't know what happened exactly, but I do know sometimes those sort of things happen. We are also going to have to reschedule for Matt Collig to be on the show in the future. He had a last-minute adjustment to his schedule, and he wasn't able to come on tonight, even though his people did confirm yesterday. Unfortunately, this afternoon I heard from them. He wasn't able to come on the show. I am looking forward to talking to Matt Collig. We've been trying to get him on the show since Daytona, so almost like 2 months. But hopefully we're able to get him scheduled on the program shortly. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to have the show next week. Right now, I'm planning on having a show next week, but things can change. We're trying to get more and more people on the show. We had a slate of 4 guests on this evening. 2 of them came in. That's great. Great to talk to them. And I'm going to contact some of the guests we weren't able to contact with in the past few weeks to try and reschedule them on the program as well. Once again, if you're a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner, maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport, we'd love to talk to you. So contact us and get your own spot on the show. After all, you deserve your 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. The easiest way to get in touch with me is to go to speedwaydigest.com, head down to the bottom part, which is the racing news section, and search for me. It's Adam Sinclair. It's got my contact information there, as well as a little bit more information about me and how I became involved in the world of motorsports. I'm just basically a pretty big fan of auto racing, and I'd love to share my love of the sport with you guys out there in the internet world. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder as well as the other shows on the Speedway Digest Radio Network at speedwaydigest.podbean.com. You can also check out the show on Facebook by searching for Speedway Digest Thursday Night Thunder in the search bar or simply by going to facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. That's all one word there. I also invite you to read the articles covering all aspects of motorsports at speedwaydigest.com. I have had a lot of articles published there recently, most of them last weekend. I'll be publishing a bunch again this weekend, so be sure to check out the racing news section at speedwaydigest.com. Also have some articles in the Speedway news section. I don't really tend to cover much NASCAR stuff, but sometimes I cover a few NASCAR racing things as well. But most of my stuff is concentrated around the world of sports cars, a little bit of IndyCar, and some drag racing stuff there. Also, I have a lot of motorcycle articles that tend to come through and come to my attention, so I post those as well. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida, and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our Slice of Paradise at my fairly new and still growing site for Warplum's Fantastic Finds. That's basically my blog site. It's a place where I cover travel news and information about local events, some charity stuff, some restaurant reviews, pretty much everything that can fit there, I put it out there. It can be found on Facebook. Twitter, the easiest place to find on Twitter is at PB Happening. And by heading to For Warplum's Fantastic Finds. That's one word, FABORPLUMBS, fantasticfinds.wordpress.com. Once again, we'd like to thank you for listening and look forward to seeing you again next week in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing. Once I have an idea of who's going to be on the show, I'll go ahead and share it with you guys on Facebook as well as on Twitter. So be sure to check it out there on Facebook at facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. And the easiest spot to find me on Twitter is at ForBorPlums. That's FABORPLUMBS. Have a great week, and thanks for coming on the show and listening to me rambling about motorsports and my guests, Keegan Kincaid and Josh Pierson. Thanks again. Have a great night.